Well, hello there, hoteliers. We are meeting here again to talk about WTF mouth-opening moments in our beautiful hotel and service industry. So if you haven't seen any of our episodes previously, go check it out. It'll give you a better intro. We don't want to bore you with that right now. We're cut straight to the chase. I'm Michèle Kline. I am founder and operator of Kline Hospitality Consulting, where we do brand standard audits and training to make our industry look and feel better. Stephanie?
Good morning, everyone. Hi there, Stephanie Ledger, Chief Excellence Officer, First Rate Hospitality, based here in sunny Miami, Florida. And we also too work with hotels on training their staff service standards and also to service evaluations. All right, so what are we going to talk about today?
Let's see what we have today. It's going to be a quite interesting one. This is one of my favorite moments in the industry. So when we say I've seen it all, something like this happens. And I will give you a little bit of the backstory to this one. I happened to be visiting a very, very large property. And while I was at the housekeeping office, our dispatchers received a phone call from a room attendant who was feeling very altered, and she couldn't speak any English. So between the communication barrier and what she was trying to explain, it was quite an interesting moment. So basically what happened is we had some guests at the hotel who had a little bit too much fun, and there was some lost and found that this room attendant found when she went into the room. Our guest left behind, and what our guest left behind was a pair of handcuffs, and she could not take them off the bed. But when it was time to follow proper procedure and look into her protocol, which protocol called for her to key it into the phone system in order to send that signal over to engineering, and engineering understand and determine what was needed in the room and which room it was a hard one for her because we did not have handcuff removal in our system. So with her very limited English, she explained to the dispatcher what was going on. Dispatcher had no idea what was going on because she couldn't even understand what that word meant. And dispatcher immediately figured, okay, we'll send a supervisor over. They contacted someone who was in the area on the floor. Supervisor shows up, is able to speak with the room attendant, communicate, and truly understand what was going on. But what was interesting about this piece is not so much, sure, the work order part, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It was more so the way the room attendant reacted and the way our supervisor reacted when she came into the situation, right? Wow. So the room attendant, as we find out later on, was very religious. So this scene for her was super disturbing. So as they are trying to communicate, supervisor is not being very professional at this point and is laughing her head off when she sees this situation. So then we had to counsel the supervisor, and we had to sit with the GRA to make sure everyone was in peace. And supervisor calls dispatch, explains what's going on, and then the call gets dispatched to engineering. So, a few things that we learned from this process was, one is, how important it is we get reminded, how important it is to have our GRAs truly pay attention to putting in those work orders.
Yes.
How important it is for our dispatchers to send that supervisor over when they can't push it through, as opposed to perhaps saying, oh, okay, sure, making the note and letting it all kind of brush off, which we've seen that happen in certain departments as well. But also, how do we react to situations like this, right? Because our team member, she was startled about the whole situation. And the way our supervisor reacted to it wasn't so much of try to assist this room attendant through the process from an emotional standpoint, but it was more so of, kicking it off with crazy laughter that the poor GRA could not understand, like, what is going on? Why do you think this is so funny? So that was a tough one. And we had to sit down with the supervisor and counsel her to, make sure that next time we can react that way. It's inappropriate, and not everyone finds this funny. And obviously, congratulate the team in dispatch for following proper procedure, and then obviously teaming up with the engineering department to make sure that this room could go back into the rack to after this lost and found was left behind, right? And then obviously making sure that we talk to our team about it as to what do we do with this? Do we keep it? Yeah, of course we keep it. Of course we're going to save it. Of course we're going to log it. It doesn't really matter what it is that we find in the room, but we still have to make sure we report it and make sure that we deal with the situation the appropriate way. Absolutely. So I don't know, Stephanie, if you've had any similar situations where, I've had underwear found in the past, or, probably more interesting things, but I think this was the most interesting find for me.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and also too, even, when the guests want to be funny and they leave the pillows all wrapped up in the sheet so it looks like a body. But, I think, the main thing, we covered a lot on this, but, having that respect for each other as employees. Also, not knowing someone's cultural background, religious background, making sure that we're doing what we need to do on getting the rooms ready, but then also too when we're communicating and even cross-communicating to the other departments that we're thorough so everyone will understand.
Yes. You just reminded me of I'll tell you a quick story when you said how many times the guests leave pillows wrapped in a way where you think there's someone there. I got a call once to one of the rooms. This was a timeshare property. And I get to the room and I immediately, as I walk in, the kitchen, the living room is an absolute mess, like an absolute disaster, completely trashed. Now we are talking extra credits and extra travel time. Anyway. Yeah. So as the minute I thought, it's a trash room. Yeah, sure. It's a mess. No, walk into the bedroom. And as I peek into the bedroom, I realized there's someone in the bed. And I start, calling out housekeeping. Nothing, the bed is not moving. Like I can see that the person is not breathing. So now I'm freaking out. Like I have to call security and what's going on. So as I approached the bed, it looked very perfect, but there was hair. Like I could see hair on the top, like right outside the covers. So I finally walk in and I pull the covers out. It was a person made out of pillows, but this beautiful guest had cut their hair. Whatever remaining hair was there, they placed it in such a way where it looked like there was the head of a person sleeping in the room. Oh, my heart, I probably wanted to throw up my heart. It was pounding so hard. I thought there was someone there that had passed away. It was awful. So anyway, thank you for that.
I know, but it's crazy. That's a new one of cutting the hair and adding that to it. And I've had actually someone, that you always make fun of watching the movie The Hangover, and seeing those scenes, just waiting for the lion in the bathroom to come out from the guests that are having so much fun with their, enjoying life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm sure you see a lot of that in the Miami area, and we surely see that in Las Vegas. So yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah.
What do we have from your end, Stephanie? I think we're gonna keep this line of talking about out of order and work orders and so on.
Yes, yes. So mine is the ironing and ironing board. And I was
Lovely.
not impressed. I was unimpressed because I wasn't able to iron my clothes. Because as you can see here on the right hand side with the iron, so as soon as if I was wearing a white shirt and as soon as I put that on to iron my blouse, that obviously is going to be getting onto my shirt. And then the next thing you know, I would be going downstairs to the front desk needing a new shirt for the one that got ruined. And then here to the left is also to the ironing board itself on the cover. And I've seen this many times where it has multiple stains. One time I was checking into a room. The front desk said the room was ready, so I go up, and housekeeping was still in the room finishing up. The room attendant told me as the guest to wait outside while she finishes the room. And since I was here doing a mystery shop, I had to do what the guest said, or the employee said, instead of going down to the front desk. So I waited, and then she ended up bringing out the ironing board that had a big red wine stain, and left it out there in the hallway while she went back in and finished cleaning. But it was great. She saw it and she was doing something about it, but not thinking that the guest is right here, seeing that this is the room that now I'm going to be checking into. So it was a very interesting inspection and a report that they received. But yes, it's very important to making sure that you're looking and checking that everything is in working order, as if you were the guest and you were going to be the one to use it. Because if I'm here inspecting the room and I see this, obviously I would be pulling these items out of the room and getting the replacements, because it's just going to cause more guest problems when the guest then goes and either sees it or uses it. And now, of course, it's that $500,000 Gucci shirt that needs to be replaced right away.
It had to be the So this is interesting, because how many times do we see through training or revisions of SOPs where the ironing board cover may not even be mentioned at any point in time? You're sure there's things that you will be stripping out of the room on a daily basis, or on a on the checkout service.
Yes.
There's other items where our teams may not be truly inspecting and reviewing before they exit that room. And I think that the ironing board cover is one of them.
Yes.
So this is actually really cool that you're bringing this up, because it's important that we do check on this, and it is easy to find stains on the covers. Yes. And not everybody makes sure that is working, or as well as pulling out the ironing board.
Yes.
To make sure that it folds and it opens the right way and it doesn't, fall apart. And the other thing, Stephanie, is I think it would be cool to perhaps review what are some of those hacks or some of those tricks that we sometimes apply when we are trying to make sure that our irons are actually kept clean. So can you share any of that? Like, what do you recommend your teams when you go out on the floor to make sure that those irons are cleaned and maintained, and how to do that?
Yes. I mean, the one thing is, water right away, as if they're, the water, leaving the water in the iron is a no for a checkout room. And it could be sitting there for 3-4 weeks before another guest would be sitting there using it, and now you're having this water. But it's also too all a part of your PM preventative maintenance program of saying, okay, you know what, it's the 23rd of the month where today is going to be the day that in your rooms to making sure that you're checking the irons and ironing boards. Like that's your main focus of the day, and tomorrow can be a different part of the room, but already pre-scheduling is a great way, I recommend, of having it on the calendar, because then you know that it's going to be checked on a monthly or a weekly basis.
Yes, great. And then when it comes to cleaning irons or keeping up or maintaining them, there's two little hacks that I like to use. One is white vinegar.
Oh yeah.
White vinegar is not something that we carry in housekeeping departments very often. However, when we have guests that are allergic to any other chemicals, that's usually what we use. So it's always good to have white vinegar handy, and Q-tips. So running a full cycle of water with white vinegar in it and making sure that we use the steamer in the iron will loosen up some of that hard water that we see, especially in many of the different regions on the West Coast. We have a lot of issues with hard water. And then using Q-tips to go into those tiny holes, because if those are dirty, then what would that leave is like little tiny dots in anything that you place your iron over, or sometimes it's rusty, and now again we are ruining the Gucci outfit, so we don't want to do that.
Yes, and even the cord as well is those retractable ones too, is so the room attendant was able to get it back into the proper way that it needs to be. However, it doesn't come out properly, or it doesn't retract properly either, and that's also too something to look, because now you're
so what do we do with a cord then?
Then we can be able to coil it very neatly and not just shoving it into the handle where it looks like a mess.
Yes, and it's it sounds silly to talk about the cord.
Yes,
but both you and I know very well that in any brand standard audits that we perform, that is definitely something that is on there, that we look for, and that we're gonna, ding our operators for, and you're gonna lose points for that. So it's, a lot of hotels do pay attention to that in their training, but then there's a lot of teams of management that don't quite focus on that when they're training team members or when they're performing daily inspections. So most definitely something that anyone in supervisor or leadership roles should be looking at and making sure that their teams are aware of that, because we do look for that specifically when we do our audits.
Oh yeah, and I love the hotels that have the Velcro to make it nice and easy for maybe the cord's not as easy to coil neatly, but then the Velcro is an easy tool to be able to assist with putting wrapping the cord up neatly.
Yes, definitely. All right, Stephanie, what do you think?
I think we did a great one. We covered, with our out of orders theme of the day, making sure you're communicating housekeeping and to engineering, and making sure everything is in working order.
Wonderful. So, Stephanie, what do we do if, or what can anyone do if they wanted to come in and participate and share one of their fun stories? And, I know a few industry leaders that have definitely more interesting stories than the handcuffs. So you can imagine what those could potentially be. So, here's our information, but share with us, Stephanie, what should anyone who wanted to come join us and share a super fun WTF, I almost said it, moment with us, what do they need to do?
Yes, here is our email information, so you can feel free to send us an email that you're interested in talking about one of your moments, and also too on LinkedIn, shooting us a private message, or even commenting where you're watching this right now. Comment of saying that you want to be on our show. You know, we created this for you all and to be in that hospitality community where we all have a story and we all want to be able to share it and have a few laughs at it, but also to learning what either the auditors are looking for, but also to different tidbits that we can be able to share amongst each other as well, so we can provide that excellent service.
For sure. And if you're looking for anyone to help you boost your audits or create audits or perform your audits for you, here's two people that have the experience. We have been in the industry for quite a while now, and we can wrap it up with some training as well. And we definitely make training fun.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we hope to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and let us know if there's any specific topic you want us to discuss.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.